Are you done? Oh, good. Space. Are you done? Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our continuing mission until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior. To review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence. To seek out new guests, all reoccurring ones, and make them very uncomfortable. That sweater is fire. To boldly go where many other YouTube-based Star Trek thingy shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers, all over this fair planet of ours. Welcome to a live edition of Trekking Up North. I am your host, Captain Goodwill. Joining me, as ever, is the delectable Geesian from the planet... Are you muted? We can't hear Graham. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Like a verbal ninja. Can we hear Mark?
Can we hear him now? Yes, we can hear him.
Can you hear me? I just haven't been talking.
The beautiful.
Can you hear Mark? Can you hear his delicious tones?
I took a voice class about sounding beautiful on microphones.
Did you?
Yeah, everyone was like, that guy's so hideous if he doesn't sound cool. He is not going to have a good life.
You look great. You sound great. It's okay. Can you hear me now? Hear me now. Let's get some jungle classics on. Well, at least they didn't get to hear the terrible thing I said at the beginning then. I just think in the DVD version of Search for Spock, he didn't even fix the fridge at the end of it. And I was just like, that's what I was watching about. Like, obviously, these are very homeowner problems. But the fact is, I've started watching porno expecting them to fix the fridge or, do a bit of DIY. It's just, maybe that's age. Anyway, that's what you missed at the beginning, everyone. It wasn't worth it.
That was Trekking Up North for this week. Thank you very much, Ross.
I got to hear it twice, everyone. I got to hear that 2 times.
That's just the knitting needles in your ears. Just being like, oh, well, don't need these anymore.
I seriously think there are some technical issues deliberately placed by Science Officer Synoiz to make my life a living hell. Anyway, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Treks and Trekkers. Welcome to a live edition of Trekking Up North. I am your host, again, Captain Goodwill. Joining me, as ever, is the delectable Geesian from the planet... Science Officer Synoiz, and a reoccurring guest. He really is questioning why he's on this show today. He's got a green sweater. He has a mullet, though he will never show it. It is Mr. Mark Cartier, or as I'm going to call him, Commander Cartier. Hello, Commander Cartier.
Yeah, I got a promotion.
You got a promotion.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you guys.
Yes. How is everybody
Good to see
this
all
week?
these fun people in the chat. Yeah, look at all these people.
You're doing your wonderful radio voice, your sensual radio voice there, Mark.
Am I?
I think so. I think it's quite a nice voice.
He's got a promising career on NPR in America. That's what he's going to have. He'll be
NPR sounds like one of those do not resuscitate orders or something. Where they're just like, No. If he's on there, just let him die. Yeah, it's fine.
No. No. Just reviewing Star Trek
I'm
episodes
trained in
having
NPR.
while having a Lotus Biscoff biscuit every, like between each sentence. Yes. Yes. Okay. Holy crap. Are we all okay this week? No? Great. So we're all on the same boat.
I quite like the idea that this episode is just going to be therapy, where we basically had like these really difficult weeks. Okay, so maybe we should hold hands. Can we just hold hands at the side? Okay,
So much therapy. I've had so much therapy these
hands
past 2 weeks.
If Mark does this, I do this.
Take my hand, Mark. Take my hand. There we go. Okay,
hands
now,
across
we've
the
got
planets.
Yeah, there we go.
We are creating a Dyson sphere of hand holding.
We will get through this week because my week is finally over. I finally put the last episode of Snatch Talk live, so I'm done now. I'm free. My busy period is over. I just got to refuse every gig anyone offers me until May. So I'm kind of okay, but obviously, your situations are muddy.
We are fine. We are here to talk about Star Trek. Star Trek is love. Star Trek is life. # all Trek is good Trek. It is catharsis. So we are here to review...
Trian. Sorry, we have someone. Trian is from Norway in the chat.
Wow.
I was practicing my Norwegian. You don't often run into situations in Los Angeles where you can practice your Norwegian.
I don't think I've ever practiced it in
Tran,
England.
how you doing?
Hey, Tran, welcome to the chat. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Oh my goodness, look at all these handsome and wonderful people, and then Beth. We have got David. We have got Becca.
Your one-man hate campaign against Beth.
I'm
going to say hello to everyone in the chat except Christopher.
Well, I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat except Mark, because apparently Mark's in the chat as well. He's cheating. He's everywhere. Did
I say that right?
I love that your webcam froze there, and it was like a spell had been done. There was like the magical rite had been completed. He's now transferred his conscience into the computer through the power of Norwegianism.
Yeah. Norwegian is so good.
When he starts speaking Norwegian, and you just see my mug doing this across the screen, I am going to start panicking. But yeah, we are here to review Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock.
Yay!
Not Spock, not Cork, not Cork, not the town in Ireland. The Search for Pork.
I was saying before we hopped on here that this title is misleading. It should not be The Search for Spock. It should be The Search for Spock's Body.
Yeah,
because that's actually what they're searching for.
Does it really have a ring, though?
I was going to say, though.
Also, by the way, Spock's father does not give specific instructions to Kirk. He doesn't say, go to Genesis planet, find Spock's body, and then bring bones and Spock's body back to Mount Seleia on Vulcan. He says, go to Mount Seleia.
Yeah.
Climb the steps of Mount Seleia.
Imagine if you go all that way, you climb the steps, and you get to the top, and he's like, where's the body? And he's like, what? You have to go back.
I just brought the torpedo tube. You didn't tell me about no body.
To be fair, it's like a fetch quest, but you acquire a corpse, which seems a bit unnecessary, I think, And then at the end, some farmer gives you like 5 gold pieces, and you're like, but I brought you 3.
So hang on, this is Star Trek 3, The Search for the Side Quest. Is that what you are saying right now?
Kind of.
This is Star Trek 3 is a side quest. Yes.
So
I just find it I find the title a bit misleading because they find Spock in like 20 minutes. He's right there. It's like the search for Spock is pretty quick because they kind of find him and then
they're like
just
pad the film. Is that what you're saying? This could have
been.
What
we were talking in the TNG episode we did like a couple of weeks ago where we went, the A plot is like resolved within like half of the episode, and we're like, that's kind of weird just to kind of finish that. But
so you
this is like, we found Spock
in our reshoot. In our reshoot of The Search for Spock, it is essentially just going to be a very short trek. So it's going to be Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and you just go, there he is, and credits, and that's it.
The worst thing is that he directed the fucking film. So you know where he is? He's behind the camera. He's that guy with a cap over there yelling stuff.
No,
It's like,
that's
where
Mark.
Spock is.
That's Mark. The guy with the cap in there is Mark.
Okay, there
me.
we go. Hold on.
The one who's yelling? Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Also,
I'm-
as well,
I'm a
Snap a couple
terrible
people
human.
You're a terrible human.
No,
What have you done to
no.
be a terrible human?
You are not a terrible
you know.
human. You are not my manager.
I had
So-
dreams and I chased them. Fucking terrible.
Don't worry, we're in therapy now. We're in the joy of Trek therapy, like Trek group session, where we watch good Trek and then we sort of we get
about
over
to
our
say,
problems through the
the
magic.
Well, I
joy
know
of-
that we kid about Star Trek 3 being a side quest, but I do have to say Star Trek 3 is a really excellent movie. I watch it every few years, and it always it's that sneaker little kind of sneaky one that you never want to put in the top 2 for whatever reason, but it probably ought to be. And
It's a good one. It's.
I mean,
it's a good one.
I don't know your opinion, Mark, but like obviously, did you see our episode where we were talking about the motion picture, the first one, and I just hated it absolutely, and
It's so good.
I just really don't like it. But then it's made the Wrath of Khan and the Search for Spock so much better because I'm like, oh, they're movies. They're actually Trek movies.
it's a
rather
soft
than
reboot from
a
the Wrath of
walking
Khan.
simulator. Like we're talking about fetch quests. The first one is a walking simulator where they're like, okay, just go here and then things will happen and then okay. You know.
Synoiz, it's not Lord of the Rings. How dare you compare the motion picture to the Lord of the Rings? At least
Lord of
there
the
were
Rings had
ships.
Ents. It had Ents, damn it.
Yes, but no. We had sideburns in the motion picture. This was part 2 of the Genesis trilogy as well. And really interestingly, this is Science Officer Synoiz's first time watching The Search for Spock as well.
Yes.
So
Hilarious.
This is your
Seriously.
first time watching it for real?
It's my first time. Well, my first time watching it ended about 15 minutes ago because that's how difficult my day has been. So yeah, so it's all very fresh in my mind.
very.
But yeah,
fresh.
no, that's the thing. I was positive that I'd seen all of them, and then what is it when Goodwill was going like, oh yeah, this bit, and I'm like, Christopher Lloyd's in a fucking Star Trek movie. What? You know? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Doc Brown. And by the way, this is another thing that we noticed, Goodwill and I, that Doc Brown is in yet another fucking time machine.
He is. He is because
the-
we used that thing as a fucking time machine in part
Yeah.
4. So
Yep.
it is. This is. I'm just going to say it is the inspiration for Back to the Future. So there you go.
This is Back to the Future 1.
Yeah, he didn't fall into the lava. Spoilers. He traveled back in time, changed into a human surgically, bought a DeLorean, the only person in the world.
He's
to
like,
actively
fuck the
buy one.
Klingon ship thing. I'm going to do it with a DeLorean this time.
This
I do
crazy
like the
Irish
idea of there
scammer is
being-
building this car, so I'm going to buy one. So it's
Is-
yeah.
This Goodwill, Mark. This sounds like the sort of story that you come up with when you're playing with the action figures, where you've got like the action figure of like Crag, and then you've got the DeLorean, and then you've got Marty McFly, and you're like, okay, how do these all tie together when I'm 8?
There is a face. I'm going to give this a shout out. There's a Facebook page called Trekker Things, and they do these really funny memes with the Playmates action figures from the 90s. Where they've got like Catherine Janeway and Tom Barris and stuff. And instead of like the kids doing pew pew pew, it's just like, you have to die, Tuvix, because I need my senior officers back. And he's like, no, I am an independent being. And they're having these like really deep moral dilemmas with action figures at 10 years old. And I'm just like, yeah, that was me. That was me at 10 years old. Yeah. Guinan, I need your guidance. No, Jean-Luc, you are no longer Borg. And it's, yeah, do you see what I mean? It's, who needs pew 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 when you've got moral dilemmas?
In my puppet,
I
my
quite like that.
issues was always daddy puppet versus mommy puppet. And then the little boy puppet was always trying to get them to stop.
Oh, you had a
And
father.
then there would be a lot of crying.
Oh,
He comes
know.
He comes here all the way from them United States of them Americas with a father and a
United
mother
status.
who love him very much, and he just crushes on all my dreams. That this is what he does. He's like, ha ha ha! I had a dynamic, and yeah. Also, hello mother and hello
Wait,
father.
Hold on. Are you actually? arguing with Mark for having a relationship with his parents,
Yes.
even if it's a bad one. You're like, it still counts.
Fuck him.
It still counts.
Father!
I have a very strange relationship with my parents today because I have this thing where when I explain to my parents that I'm really busy, they just go, so we should visit then. And you're like, no, do not do the. I'm going to start getting into reverse psychology with them because it's literally today. I was like, okay, I'm really busy. I can't do anything today. So mum's like, I'll come round and tidy the house. And I'm like, no, don't do that. And then dad's like, I'll be in the garden doing stuff. I'm like, I shouldn't have told you anything. I should have said, yes, I'm totally free today. And then they wouldn't have come round.
Right, what the hell is wrong with you two? First of all, Mark's got loving parents. Second of all, Science Officer Synoiz has got parents who do shit for him.
Okay, Harry Potter, don't take a break from this.
Do you know
Back under the stairs.
The relationship with my
Back
mother?
under the stairs, Goodwill.
Yeah. Oh,
Go on.
ha. I've got glasses and ginger hair. Ha.
You killed my boy. You Klingon.
My boy!
bastard.
I've also got a scar on my
You
forehead.
killed my son.
You
I love the
dementor,
idea, though, that,
you
Mark,
dementor
that
bastards.
that actor is a really good English actor who's known for comedy most of the time, and then he
William
just gets
Shatner
this really
is a
William
hilarious
dramatic
British
thing.
actor.
No, sorry, I'm talking about the bit in Harry Potter. Sorry,
Oh,
when
Mr.
the Harry
Radcliffe.
Potter films,
Yeah.
it literally has like, I killed my boy. But yes, this is another one about children dying at some point and getting horrible bitch deaths, which is kind of sucky.
Horrible bitch deaths. And just to qualify, before my mother does text me, yes, we have a loving relationship. She bought me toilet roll today. So we are going to get into...
I will have to say, I do want to say, since we touched on David's death, Kirk's son's death, which happens here in Star Trek 3, I'd actually say Star Trek 3, speaking of it not being the best movie, but being really good, and it's the second best Star Trek movie about Kirk's son's death. Can you name the best?
Undiscovered Country.
Undiscovered Country.
Thank you.
That's correct. I will never forgive them for the death of my boy.
Oh, it's... I don't trust Klingons.
I've never trusted the
will.
Klingons, and I never will. I have never been able to forgive them for the death of my boy.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to review that film.
We're getting to it. We're very much getting to it.
3 more months. So yeah, this, I think we all agree, this is a very underrated movie because the running gag with Star Trek films is the odd ones are always the worst ones. But this really bucks the trend, because if you take it as part 2 of a 3-part trilogy, it stands up. It really does stand up. The level, this for me is family. This is very Vin Diesel. It's all about family. It's
about family.
Yeah, you know, Kirk goes all Vin Diesel.
Tried that into Star Trek.
Gets his Dodge Charger out of the garage, and then races a train. And Paul Walker appears. We don't know why, but he.
I don't know why.
LL Cool J is on the Genesis planet, you know, all that stuff. But it is. We get a lot of firsts in this film. We do get David. We get Shatner's, I would say, second best performance as Kirk in this.
No.
Yes.
You think so?
The thing is, for me,
2-6.
2
is number 1 for me, because we see a broken Kirk. Search for Spock is second, and then Undiscovered Country, where we see him deal with his prejudices.
2, 6, 5, 3, 4, 1.
So
Kirk performances.
Mark's pin code is
that's it. That's my pin code. My pin code is the order that Shatner has been best in the Star Trek films, and everyone's like, "Damn, that's some good security."
Fuck.
No one's ever gonna guess that.
I
2,
only know it
6,
from TJ
5,
Hooker.
3, 4, 1. Yeah, that's it.
Don't
2,
repeat
6,
it.
5, 3, 4, 1.
I think those are Adam's measurements, but I'm not quite sure where we're starting
No, we're not going.
from.
On
Oh
previous
yes,
jokes.
Goodwill.
No, we
Oh
are.
yes, it wouldn't be trekking up north without me being a pervert.
So yeah,
No,
so I am.
I have to say though, I did really like William Shatner's performance in this, because I'm very much like not a Shatner fan. The more I watch original series and the more I watch the movies, I'm a bit like not really sold compared to the future captains that we get. But I thought he was really good. I agree with Mark that I thought he was. I liked this one. I very much like this as a movie because the best bit about it is that it is a direct continuation. It's a direct continuation from the second one. And I've never kind of seen that in many movies. Like, it doesn't even jump forward 50 years. It's literally like, I think they've turned the ship around. They've turned the ship around. They've gone back towards the Genesis planet, and that's it. And Scotty's gone, it's all fucked. That's basically all that has happened between the two films. And that's kind of brilliant that it just continues on.
It's yeah. So this
Yeah, and
is,
4 is the same way. It's just
Yeah.
the next day.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
God,
we need
it's
more
brilliant.
films like this.
They fight Khan, they save Spock's body, and then they travel back in time to save humpback whales in 3 days, just 3 days in a row.
You can tell where the acid kicked in, can't you?
And
In the writing room, they're just like, okay, cool, it's Spock, but he's still alive, and there's whales.
But I mean,
the whales.
in 2 of those films, Kirk doesn't even change clothes. So it has been a week for Shatner.
Yeah, 3 and 4, he's wearing the same outfit,
yeah, he's
isn't
wearing
he?
the same clothes. Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of firsts in this. We get to see the beautiful space dock. We get to see the Excelsior. I cannot remember for the life of me the name of the captain of the Excelsior at first before Sulu.
It's
but he is such a prick.
I think his surname's Stickin'
Captain.
Ass.
Yeah, Captain Stickin' Ass.
Yeah. I think he's Czech.
Right, memory
It's
alpha.
funny, I actually checked out. I glanced up at the screen when his credit was going by, and now I forget.
Excelsior Captain. Don't we just
To
love
be fair,
memory
I
alpha?
still don't. I'm still not certain about what the Klingon.
Did
what
he have a
Christopher
name,
Lloyd's
or did he
character
just
is.
put?
I am finding it for you. The captain of the Excelsior
you
is Hikaru Sulu. No, it isn't. Here we go.
Overconfident captain, basically.
There he is.
This ship can't sink.
Captain Styles.
Styles.
Captain Styles with a mustache and a nail file. Captain Styles with a nail file.
And he had his little scepter that he was carrying around, the little stick. Yeah.
His
Little horse whip leader, like I'm a general thing.
Yeah,
That was
his
pretty
little-
douchey.
His helm officer as well was what's his name? He was in Hot Shots, and he's been in a load of things.
Yeah. He was in that show on HBO. He was in
Fuck. I don't know what he. I don't know.
Trans warp speed in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then they go nowhere.
Good
I kind
morning,
of like the
Captain.
idea, though, that it actually just propelled them super fast into like the Romulan neutral zone or something. And it's like, okay, maybe that was too fast, Cotty. You've just incited war.
Do you reckon though that is why the Great Experiment failed, because Scotty just literally pulled the plumbing out and they were just like fuck, and then just scrapped it, because so we could have had instantaneous travel, and because Scotty pulled out the plumbing, they just
Wait,
gave up.
I think it's one of these things because I think in the Star Trek universe they don't have overconfident marketing teams, because usually if you got a bit of technology and you got like you found a fundamental flaw with it, then you would take that on board and go, actually it can be turned off by one Scottish guy with a grudge.
Yeah.
And then obviously the way marketing teams work is they go, hey, we massively failed, how do we turn that into a success? And then keep doing exactly what we were doing before. But I kind of like that Scotty is literally, he kind of comes along saying, hey, all that new technology is massively less secure than the way I used to do it, so I just fucked him over.
I loved his.
That's what I'm like at work. I'm very much the stick in the mud, being like, hey, we kind of need to do things the old way because it's really sort of sensible and proven. And then everyone's like, no, we need the new technology. And then you're like, oh, we got hacked, did we?
But
Yeah,
he's
I hear
saying,
you.
He's saying when he goes into space, but he's like, if my grandmother had wheels, she'll be a what did she say? If my grandmother had wheels,
If my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
And he's like, come now, Scotty. Young man,
My
fresh ideas."
grandmother's a wagon.
Yeah, young mind, fresh ideas. Play nice.
Yeah. But I love the bit in the turbo lift when he's in engineering and he like Styles is going, turning in, I'm going to turn myself in, turn in myself, looking forward to breaking some of the Enterprise's old speed records. It's like, hey, you fucking bastard, you. And then he gets in the turbo shift and he's just like, what level, please? Level 4. Thank you. Up your shaft. And I love that.
Yeah,
We-
his contempt for the Excelsior is
Yeah,
very fun. Also,
it's-
his leave got cut short, and even though he didn't really want leave, he wanted to refit the Enterprise, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." Yeah,
he's
Scotty got the
one-
shaft, so he was primed for an adventure. That's why I totally
Oh.
bought it when he's like, "Let's go steal a ship and have a Kirk adventure."
He
But-
is
but
not
I
one
think
for
that's
show
great
leaving.
though, because that's how I feel a lot of the time with work and stuff like that, where you kind of just go, oh well, we just don't get the thing that I was promised. Like you'll get this Goodwill where you're just like, hey, okay, cool, we didn't get to do the stuff we wanted to do, and now everything's gone to shit. Okay, and there's this lovely empathy towards Scotty in this film, which I quite like. Uh, and it's the humor lands so well in this film, because my biggest complaint of the first one is that it's got jokes in it and none of them seem to land. Like McCoy isn't particularly funny, even though on paper his jokes and stuff are really good. It's just something about the vibe doesn't work. And then
Yeah.
in 2 we were like, okay, cool, McCoy's fun again. And then in this one, the humor, like we were saying there, Kirk has some amazing zingers and Scotty has some amazing lines, and McCoy bizarrely isn't the funny one in this one because he's pretty much disabled for most of it
I
because
was
of the
talking
mind
to
meld.
Mark. I was talking to Mark before we came on air,
And as Synoiz is trying to point out, disabled people are never funny.
no, we as we have clearly
Wow.
stated. On
That's
Okay.
what
Talking
you
Up North,
said.
as
Why
we-
would
No,
you
no,
say that if you didn't mean it? I think
No,
that's
okay,
pretty
I'm
fucked
gonna-
up of you to say, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna
I think
have
you
to
need to
double down
retract
on this
that.
and just
You need to retract your statement.
They're never funny. No, but I like the idea that he's just like he's usually the funniest person, and he's just so fucked this entire fucking
Yeah,
film.
he's got
just like,
Spock's thing up in his head, and I can see. I agree with you. I can see how that's funny on paper and how it may not have played out well on screen. I do think,
But I
though,
like that
that
it's so creepy. I like that they play it so he is genuinely kind of disturbed. Like, McCoy,
Yeah.
usually you expect him to be sort of making jokes of or light of it kind of thing. And he's genuinely like, I hate
Yeah,
this,
getting all worked up. Yeah,
he's
he
very,
did get a that green blooded. He got one of them in.
Oh, I wrote it down. It was so good.
What is it?
Green-blooded son of a
green-blooded
bitch.
son of a bitch. That's his revenge for all those arguments he lost.
Yeah, I love it. I love that McCoy is literally, that's a very good line from McCoy where he's just basically going, like, oh, Spock's just annoyed because of all those arguments he lost. And you know for a fact that Spock didn't lose the arguments. But McCoy's just
It's-
walked away being like, I totally won that one, right?
It's
Moral
brilliant
victory.
because we see McCoy come into his own in the movies, and McCoy just being McCoy, he hates space travel. He hates beaming up, beaming down. He's a good old fashioned country doctor, and he just does not like any of this. He is along for the ride though, and the way he just goes on in this film, he's got some of the best lines, but he is not the funniest one. Because like I said, we get Scotty, we get Kirk. I mean, Kirk going into the brig. How many fingers am I holding up? That's not very damn funny. And it's just so, do you know what I mean? But it lands really well. But then you get ones like with Sulu and the security guard, where the security guard yawns and he's going, oh, keeping you busy. And he just stands there and he's like, don't get smart with me, tiny. And Sulu just fucking wails on it. He's like, don't call me tiny. And I'm like, yes! Yes, absolutely.
Don't call me tiny.
But Uhura as well gets her moment as with the what was it, the young
the little
ensign.
adventure kid.
Yeah. Your career's winding down, and she's just like, get in there, get in the closet. And he's like, oh, I'll have him eating out of the palm of my hands. And I'm like, damn, Uhura.
Yeah.
God.
One of them says, "I'm glad you're on our side."
Yeah.
Isn't it great though that we actually get the supplementary characters getting to do stuff in this? Because it did feel very much, even in Wrath of Khan, like Uhura's like, I have 2 lines, and it's like, obviously, and it's kind of great that they all get little moments to kind of shine in this, where we walk away and be like, oh, Uhura's cool, rather than them being like, we don't know what to do with this character, which was basically the vibe of the first one, where we're like, oh, they're here, but not really doing anything,
It is. So the actual plot of Star Trek 3 is obviously Spock died at the end of 2. Spoiler alert, but really, why are you watching this? He soft landed on the Genesis planet, the newly formed Genesis planet. It has become a galactic controversy. Kirk and the crew have returned home to Earth. The ship is going to be decommissioned. And Spock's father turns up to Kirk and goes, "Why did you let him die? And why did you not do this?" And Synoiz is quite
He
rightly
trusted
said,
you, he says.
Yeah, and Synoiz is quite rightly put out. Like, he doesn't really explain to Kirk what he needs to do. And he's just like, "Find this, go to Mount Seleia. Bye." And it's just...
It's a quest. It's literally
it's
a quest.
side quest,
You know,
yeah.
he's promised 5 gold pieces and a mana potion for it. Basically, go to Mount, go up the stairs.
100 caps.
That's it.
100
Some subpar fucking armor. You know, that's all you get.
100 caps and a shot at a rare outfit.
So they
I
steal...
lugged a dead Vulcan here. You know, they're heavier than they look.
So they steal the Enterprise and head to New Vegas.
Yes, that's what happens.
Yeah. It's like New Vegas / Django, where they're just hauling a dead body back. But
I love Fallout.
I love Fallout. Yeah, I can't.
We should probably ask you, like, how are you feeling about the series, Mark? Are you optimistic, or are you a bit?
Oh, I'm
scared,
so
or...
excited. I'm so there's some naysayers and there's some like circus monkeys. Everyone's jumping around. They can't wait to hate it or they can't wait to love it, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm actually thinking about launching a Fallout show in the next 2 weeks.
That would be amazing.
Just to talk about it.
See, that's the thing. I've never played a Fallout game, but I've watched so many lore videos. Like, so I've pretty much watched all of Fallout 1 and 2 just from like a playthrough where they just listen to every audio log, they go through every option and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is amazing. But I haven't actually played it, but I feel like I know it because, you know, and there's something wonderful about that, but I'm just so cynical nowadays, Mark. Whenever there's an adaptation of anything, I'm just like, I'm going to go in with the lowest expectations possible. And then if it's okay, I'll be really happy. So like Rings of Power, I was like, I quite like this because I went in thinking it would be absolutely terrible. And it's actually average. You know, it's kind of average and massively expensive, you know.
Yeah.
But enough about my love life. The
wow.
Average and massively expensive.
That is the best joke I think you've ever made, Goodwill. I love that.
So
Kirk,
why
am I free?
So once again, the Enterprise is stolen for the 7 millionth time in its service. And I love the line that I used to promote this week's episode, where he's trying to convince the commander of Starfleet to give him the Enterprise to go back to Genesis. The commander refuses, and it's like the crew go, "The word, sir, the word is no. Therefore, I am going anywhere." And it's just like, that's absolute. That is Kirk all over. So they head to the Genesis planet after obtaining McCoy. That alien though in the bar. Again,
you are planet welcome.
That the zingers that McCoy has is like, yes, Genesis, damn it! How can you be deaf with ears like that? And it's just
where's the logic?
I love that McCoy. He's like, I make xenophobia funny, but you are kind of like going. I mean, you know, unlike fucking Right Said Fred or Brexiteers, but you know, the idea of just like. Wow, that's an old reference. Does anyone still know who Right Said Fred were? Christ.
Hang on. Where is it?
I'm like their long lost twin, but you know, right there.
I've lost it, Synoiz. Keep talking.
Am I the only
trait? There we go.
Yeah, we just very random. Oh yes, fuck the Tories. Hey!
Thank you. Okay.
Oh my word.
Continue.
we got a actually totally off topic at the final of Drag Idol on Sunday. One of the winner's number basically had an amazing section where it was basically them singing a song to Rishi Sunak, the current unelected prime minister, and it was just brilliant because it was just like listing all the things that they've done for them, and it was just like, I work 2 jobs and it's
I get it. You guys
put my electricity on. You know?
You guys are talking about politics. It took me a second because of your weird British lingo.
Oh right, yeah.
Well, like unelected.
Usually, if we say the C word, we're talking politics.
Yeah.
That's the little
unelected
cheat.
and fuck the Tories. Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you tell we're from the north? So Yeah, we get Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, Doc Brown
As,
shows up.
You know, this is really, we get the introduction of the bird of prey. The Klingons are back from Star Trek 1, and we get a Targ, but Christopher Lloyd is absolutely brilliant in this film. And he just takes zero shit from his crew. It's like when the Grissom gets blown up, and he's just like, I wanted prisoners, and he's just like, a lucky shot, my lord. He just fucking vaporizes his gunner, and you're just like, oh, this dude does not mess around. Like, if this Doc Brown had the Libyans would be the ones running. And it's just...
That's right.
This Doc Brown in a car park.
It's the Libyans! Run!
Set the Targ loose.
Doc Brown in a car
park. We
park.
get to see a Targ. The Targ was my favorite thing, and then when it died, I was like, "What's the point in watching on?"
Oh, and it had like a little snake tongue. I'd never noticed that before, actually.
It's so cute.
Yes.
Well, it was in cute. Kind of. I'd like to know the man who resurrected it, but
I liked it when he told one of his subordinates to feed his Targ, and the Klingon who was just told to feed the Targ had this horrifying look on his face. Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was like an afraid Klingon.
You won't get this, Mark, but Synoiz, did you think he looked like Bill Bailey?
Kind of. It was really odd because I've forgotten his name, okay? Like, he's been in Star Trek a couple of times, and he's been in the X-Files, but you know that amazing character actor who literally has the build of a wrestler? He plays the alien assassin in the X-Files.
Oh yeah, he's in Star Trek. He's in. He plays a Romulan in Enterprise. He plays. He's around.
He's been in everything. He's an amazing character actor.
Was he the one in season 4?
He's like the poor man's. Who's the German action star?
David Hasselhoff.
No.
Can we go with David Hasselhoff anyway? I just for shits and giggles. Yes, that's who I meant. David Hasselhoff.
That well-known German action star.
Christ, Goodwill. But yeah,
Das Knight Rider.
I just felt like Das Knight Rider. Oh God, there I am.
Somebody just texted me a picture of their cat watching us.
Oh my word.
Oh.
I'm so sorry for that kitty.
It made me laugh.
For our
I noticed that there's
viewers,
an Xbox
meow.
there in this picture as well.
For our feline viewers, meow.
Meow.
That's a soundbite.
But with this, like, I think it's really good. Like, I think what we get is really interesting with Christopher Lloyd. But I'm going to be the voice of dissent here. I'm not sold on Christopher Lloyd, sorry. Christopher Lloyd in this movie. Like, I'm a massive Christopher Lloyd fan, but I'm not. I don't know. Like, I think he's a bit of a shit Klingon in the capacity of, like, what about him is Klingon? He's angry, but, like, nothing about him is honorable. Nothing about him is, like, sort of, it feels very odd. Like, my big criticism of this film would be, rather than the Klingons, wouldn't it have been the Romulans? In that kind of way of going, so they're looking for this Genesis device that can be massively destructive and wipe out whole planets, and you're like,
oh, were you saying it's more like a clandestine thing?
Surely having the Romulans as the villain here would be a lot better. To be like, hey, look, we can destroy whole planets, we can threaten you and stuff. Whereas the Klingons are like going, oh well, we can just kill loads of people from a distance.
Yeah, but then in Star Trek
totally
6,
Klingon thing.
In Star Trek 6, Kirk's diary entry would have said, I have never trusted the Klingons, I never will. I've never forgiven them for letting the Romulans kill my boy.
That's it.
Also,
that's fine.
I will never be able to forgive them for having nothing to do with my son's death. Yeah,
I had a feeling with what? God damn it! You make me think of Christopher Reeve now. Also, time travel slingshot around the planet. With that,
also he was in another time travel movie as well. That's another Christopher who was in at least 2 different time travel movies.
What is it with these Christophers and their time traveling escapades?
Future to the back or something? I don't know. But with that, I felt that with this, he is a Klingon warrior on a decline. He is looking for something to redeem himself with the High Council. because we get this context that when they review.
Oh,
the
you're
Genesis
creating
stuff,
backstory for your roleplay characters, so it is a side quest.
Yeah, you're gonna need to
damn
roll a d20 for that, Goodwill. I'm sorry.
I'll leave my D out of this. So with
By the way, this is the same sort of Klingon backstory that's regurgitated in Star Trek V, the greatest frontier.
I
where
think
it's sort of a rogue Klingon bird of prey captain who's like gunning for his own,
Yeah.
I think it's an odd thing because is this basically before the Klingons were defined like the way that we define them in later series, where they're very honor, they're very hand-to-hand combat, they're very much like
I mean the next generation is really what set the canon for the Klingons, like really established them for who they are, and this came out before that.
1984, The Search for Spock. This is the first time where we hear the proper, absolutely articulated Klingon language, and the book, the Klingon book, translation book that has been for sale for decades, came out in 84 with this movie. So when they are speaking Klingon, they are actually speaking Klingon. And that is the language that's stuck all the way through. It's
amazing.
It is a first, because also how immense of a lover was Christopher Lloyd that she was willing
That's a
to
different question, Goodwill.
But she was
how amazing was a lover with Christopher Lloyd?
Oh my God, why am I on this show?
I hope one day to find out, Goodwill.
Why am I on this show?
He answers my letters.
Because I know his address.
Take me back to the future, Daddy. And carry on.
But like she's willing to die for him. She's willing to die.
Sure. And she calls him my lord.
Yeah, and my love. And he just like, damn. Those two Klingon pains he must have must be so fucking good that she's just you know what? I am ruined by you. There is nothing else to live for.
Actually, no. I'm gonna concur here. The energy he has is very much someone who is hung, and it's like
dual dick energy. Secret. Is this what we are? This is what we are saying?
Yeah. No, I'll accept that, because I know some people who are given way too much credence simply because they're hung. Anyway, I have to say though that I loved her. I thought she was my favorite character of the whole thing. That isn't the Targ. What is it? Valkyris is she called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She, as a gay man, she is iconic. I want an action figure of her with real sort of like horse hair and like different outfits. I want a Barbie of Valkyris because of how badass she is in this 2 scenes until she explodes.
Excuse me, everybody. As I make a note for Star Trek LV Las Vegas for Synoiz's second cosplay, Valkyris Snatch.
I'm trying to work out how to make my eyes black if I'm going to do Luxana Snatch.
Just
if I'm going to do Luxana Snatch, I need to have like black contacts in because she's a pure betazoid. So come
and work for me. The lack of sleep will help. So but she's willing to die for she's willing to die because that big D energy that he's got. But we've
just made this canon now.
It is canon. But
go on, update memory alpha. Go on.
No, they banned me. The theft of the Enterprise is really good as well, because we get the sheer arrogance of Brain over Brawn. Not Brain over Brawn. We get the sheer arrogance of Captain Styles in the Excelsior, where they're just like, oh, if he's going to try to outrun me with warp drive, he's going to be in for a shock. And I love the whole.
He's very British. He's very British that way.
Yeah.
I think he is. He's very much played that way.
I tell you who he reminded me of. And I was reminded of our Serenity podcast that you were on, Mark, with the undercover agent, where he goes, the bastard's not even changing course. And then he just, entire fucking Reavers come at him. But it was that sort of arrogance, because they steal a ship, they override the doors, they do a runner in the Enterprise. And then just the sheer, arrogance that they can outrun him and they can catch him. And it's just, you gave the chief engineer, who is stealing one ship, access to your ship, and no one bothered to check. No one. And I'm just like, how shit is Starfleet at this point in Star Trek, where the only other ship in your entire solar system is the Excelsior? How fucking thin is your force when you've got
What-
2 ships?
Well, let's think about bloody motion picture where you're just going, oh, there's no other ships in the entire galaxy that
Yeah.
can go to this thing, and you're like, really? Where are
Yeah.
they? You know?
I have always taken issue with we're the only ship in range
Yeah.
Of
plot
Earth.
point. Yeah.
Of Earth.
our whole
Especially with
planet.
that, at Earth. When they're at Earth, there should be 100 ships in range.
Yeah.
But it's like the best of
more.
both worlds. The best of both worlds, where they're just like, oh, we've got the Mars Defense, and it's 3
Yeah,
piddly little
it's 3
rice
little
things.
like single person
Yeah.
shuttle pods. It's
And the
like
cube's just like, okay, moving on. And it's just, fuck, guys, what's wrong with you? But I mean, the theft of the Enterprise, which is on its last legs, it is all about falling apart. It is very
it's
much
20 years old.
It's
at
the
the end
symbol.
of its life.
It's
That's
the
it.
symbol for all 3 of us this week. We are running on auxiliary power.
We are
If we
we
get
are the
pushed
Enterprise
anymore,
in this movie.
yeah, if we get pushed anymore, things are going to spark up and flame, and Mark's hat will melt, and Graham's
I
face
just
will
like that
go.
the only thing keeping it together is the rage of one Scottish person, which is a pretty powerful force in the scheme of things, really. You know.
Yeah. Don't
I'm
piss off
gonna-
a Scot.
I've got to say, I'm half Scottish, and I was angry today because my radio in my classic car stopped working. It kept thinking it was on phone mode. I don't have a phone for this car. And it was going, please insert the Nokia. I don't have a Nokia.
Please insert the Nokia.
Insert the Nokia. So I went Scottish.
That sounds
and
like code. Is there a Russian
Yeah.
spy in
I
your
literally,
car?
I just went Scottish, and I just went, and the radio came back on. So sometimes going Scottish works. It's like Nintendo having a blow makes it work. But enough about.
I've
Synoiz's
heard that
love
as
life.
well.
Don't call it
So-
having a blow. Not in the United States.
Other things that work.
Yeah.
But enough about Synoiz's love life.
Aren't you
The,
glad you joined, Mark? Isn't this
so-
what you love?
But the whole Genesis planet, this whole massive controversy, and we get to see the shortfall of David, where he essentially did what Kirk did in the Kobayashi test. He cheated to gain a better result.
Yeah.
The Genesis project was doomed.
He lectures Kirk
Yeah.
in 2. He's like, he cheated. He cheated. He cheated.
Yeah.
Here he is himself, just another Kirk cheater.
I use proto matter. Oh, please, Prodigy's 40 years away. Get out of your own house. And it's. You were brilliant in TNG.
Is protomatter like I don't know enough about it, but is protomatter like explained in the Star Trek Galaxy?
It's
or
a
is it very much-
wildly unstable substance that all legitimate scientists have shunned. What does she say? Something like that?
Yeah. So
discredited.
it's basically like the energy drinks you have Goodwill.
It's shut up. That's pussy. It's the Andy. it's the Andy Dick of energy. So it's widely unstable and should never be used to form planets.
I don't know what the hell that means.
Neither do I. But
These
the
are old references, Mark. These are old references. The
Totally.
ancient law.
1998, and my clock just stopped. So the
Is that what you're calling it these days?
I'm looking forward to
Moving
season 3.
on.
Season 3 of Buffy looks promising. The
I hope Tara doesn't die. Anyway.
season
that was
7 of
season
DS9 coming soon. The the fact that they detect a life form, we find the torpedo tube, we see the microbes on the tube forming little slugs, which I thought were like bacon slugs as well.
Bacon slugs.
Bacon slugs.
Delicious bacon slugs.
But we see that Spock is tied to the Genesis planet, and we just hear adolescents screaming in the distance, which again has been me this week. And
that sounds like a meme. That sounds like sort of, asterixes and then adolescents screaming, which describes most of my teenage years.
why is Goodwill been in the toilet for 45 minutes? So why is the room shaking?
I think it's a bit weird. I will say though, I thought it was a bit awkward that when they find Spock, he's like about 6 or 7, and yet the voice we heard was blatantly a man's, like just screaming.
Leonard Nimoy had a very deep voice at a very young age. But I mean, there is one thing I do want to discuss with you both, because obviously in this movie, Spock is growing up and maturing on this planet with the accelerated proto matter and the Genesis planet being in sync, blah, 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 blah.
Are you talking about his love affair with Savick?
Yes, let's get into it.
Ah,
Spock
I
reaches
knew it.
Ponfar. Spock reaches Ponfar.
And they have to do the finger dance. Yeah. Yeah, there it is.
Savick
You
does...
just had sex on
Good
camera,
old,
bro.
a nice bit of fingering.
Thank you.
know,
You're gonna get
that's-
demonetized.
Thank you.
Oh,
Hello,
I've already seen to that, Mark.
hello, Kelly's
I've
mother.
already made sure we're not making any money.
Hello, Kelly's mother. The
Wow, the old Helen Keller, eh?
no, Kelly's mother, not Helen Keller.
Oh,
The,
okay, right, fair enough.
Colour of Window. Her mother loves me because it's me. But yeah, so we all know when a Vulcan reaches Ponfar and they don't do the horizontal nasty, they will pop their clogs. So Savick takes one for the team.
Yeah.
But it's never explained on
And
screen.
for herself, I would imagine.
Oh my. Oh. That's why Kirstie Alley pulled out. Speaking of pulling out, the
Speaking of pulling out, well, okay, there's a good place to end a sentence.
I'm making our Discord team work very hard in obtaining all the clips for promos.
I just like that we're gradually making Mark more red. I want to see how red we can make Mark.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest, right? This film is a minefield of innuendos. We get asphyxiation play with Christopher Lloyd and a worm.
Oh my
we
god.
we get Ponfar.
Yeah, to be fair, doesn't the worm call him Daddy? It's like Daddy.
we
You mean when he's choking it to death? Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, that's it. The
That's
little worm's
alien.
just like
That's
"Oh, Dad."
alien. That's giant alien worm for daddy.
Yeah, that's it.
the safety word.
Ah,
is,
Dad.
the safety word is. Hello
love
to
the
Nina.
art of the future.
Hello to Nina in the chat. This is why you don't release me from the basement. But it is a minefield of innuendos. We do get a little bit of asphyxiation, a bit of Ponfar horizontal nasty, etc., etc. But on a more serious note, though, I love the fact that obviously the Enterprise is on its last legs, and they've literally Scotty has quite literally given it all she's got in this. Both ships are crippled to a level where they can't fight each other, and the bluff is made by Kirk, but in a twist, the bluff is called by Christopher Lloyd. I can't remember his name. We're just going to call him Christopher Lloyd. Doc Brown.
But does he get a
Gen-
name? Like literally, I
Karg.
watched the film and
Targ.
Keg.
Karg. Keg.
Karg or Keg.
Keg.
Cog, Cag.
So it's
It's
a
Doc
rare...
Brown. Just call him Doc
Let's
Brown.
just call him Jeff. Should we
Doc
just call
Brown.
him Jeff?
General Doc Brown. But we have seen Kirk bluffing in previous. We saw it in Star Trek 2 with Khan, where he's like, "Oh, I'll transmit all the data from Genesis," and he uses that time to get the prefix code. This is an occasion where bluffing does not get him anywhere, and his bullshit is called up on, and it's a testament because although, like you said, Synoiz, he may not be the best Klingon, he can see through Kirk's bullshit and he goes, no, he's hiding something. He is hiding something here. I believe we've dealt him a bigger blow. We've dealt him a bigger blow than what we think. So he calls his bluff, and then we see the demise of his son.
But the thing is about Craig or Jeff or whatever we're calling him. It's the idea of just
General Jeff. So go on.
Okay, about Jeff, I'm making this work. Sorry, I'm just going with it. But yeah, the thing about Jeff is that like he's not a very good Klingon in the standard terms of what they are, and whether that's because they hadn't properly defined them because Next Gen hadn't come along yet or whatnot, or if he is like a pariah, he's basically an exception to the rule for Klingons and stuff, who's looking for a way to sort of redeem himself. But either way, he's an amazing tactician, and he's blind in his like quest. He just he'll throw everyone under the bus to get there, and I think there's something wonderful about that helps to make him a good villain. The fact that he's able to Because in the last film, we literally just saw sort of like Kirk running rings around a superhuman, effectively.
Yeah.
You know, he like Kirk for the first time was always one step ahead or two steps ahead. And then in this one, we've got a guy being like, nope, sounds like a trap, let's not. And you know, we're like, oh shit, we're kind of used for everyone
Yeah.
falling for Kirk's bullshit, you know?
Doc Brown is actually a pretty solid adversary for Kirk.
I'm just imagining Doc Brown.
But it's great because in these two films we see Kirk, who from the original series, even in the motion picture, we've seen Kirk as infallible. He is the not staunch captain, but he is the lady. He's the ladies' man. He's the greatest captain in Starfleet. And in these two films, we see Kirk being humanized, and we see Kirk defeated because he's lost his best friend, and then in this film, defeated because his son is killed because he used the classic Kirk, I will call a bluff and I will use this bluff to do this, do this, do this.
Krug.
Krug.
Thank you, Damon J.
When does that get mentioned? When does
Nah,
it
they
get
say
called?
it. It's in there. It's in the
Commander
movie.
Krug, Commander Jeff. We see his ultimately his bullshit way, his bluffing way, is his own undoing. So he loses his best friend and then he loses his son, and we get to see a vulnerable, passionately vengeful Kirk form out of that. And we were discussing this before we went on air, where when David is killed by the Klingon, saving Spock's bit of fluff, we see Kirk, and the way that Kirk just falls back on, like he just loses all, like everything just goes from his head and he just falls onto the floor. And we like, you Klingon bastards, you killed my son.
You
And he
killed
says-
my son.
and it's
You Klingon bastards.
but you see,
My boy,
you see,
no, it's different.
but
film.
in those three, you Klingon bastards, you kill my son. The first one, he's shocked and upset. The second one, the reality has set in, and the third one, he is angry. So he is going through the stages of grief without a beat, and it's the tiny little things that Shatner does in this. So he still remains a captain. You know, he still remains that professional, that captain, and he goes, give me a chance to inform my crew before the ball. And Christopher, General Commander Krug, is like, I give 2 minutes for you and your gallant crew, because, you know, he's a generous son of a bitch. But the way
I think that's the craziest thing, though. He's literally just murdered someone in cold blood.
Yeah.
He's literally just threatened to kill all of them, and then he's like, "Oh, but there are rules, so I will be generous and give you extra time." You're like, "Hang the fuck on!"
Yeah.
Like,
I'll give you
know,
2 minutes.
That's like someone being like, "Oh, I'm a man of honor, but I will throw your cat into this wood chipper." You know, and he's just going like, "Okay, you've got a very
I
weird
like it.
moral compass here."
When Krug transports the crew, Sulu and Chekhov and Scotty and whomever, Savick, up to the bird of prey, and Kirk says, "We'll take Spock too, take him as well." And Kirk says, "No," and Kirk says, "But why?"
Yeah.
And Kirk says, "Because you wish it."
See,
I was like-
this is the problem. We've all been in a relationship like that, haven't we? You know,
Yeah.
it's...
Because you want it, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I quite liked that. Like, I quite like just what a dickhead character he is. Effectively, that he's just like, okay, well, you know, I won't let you have this. But
Did
I
we
love
skip
that. Like,
over blowing up the Enterprise?
Yes,
I feel like we
so
skipped over that.
The
it happens
scene,
all the time. You know,
the scene, but getting back to that scene where he's like, he's giving him 2 minutes, and you see Kirk turn away, lean against the railing, and then we just get that. The one thing I really love is he doesn't cry, and he just grabs hold of Bones' arm and then turns around, and then he has immediately got a plan. He immediately knows what he's going to do because he knows that.
All right, damn you.
Yeah, and he's got a plan, and he goes full. I have got nothing to lose.
He's all in. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, Damon said it in the chat. Kirk has lost his best friend in Spock. His friend McCoy is in real trouble. He's in danger of being lost himself. And now he's about to lose the ship that they've all lived on, and he's still responsible for the lives of, you know, his other senior staff.
But it's brilliant because
I think like Damon's put it really you know, well in the chat where he's
and he knows he's
out
lost his career too because he just stole a
oh
starship.
yeah,
yeah, that's it. So,
well, that's what he
like,
says. He goes,
Kirk
you know,
literally loses everything. He's gone from what is it, hubris, like in the first one where he's just like, oh, I just want to have adventures and stuff. I know I've got all this cool stuff and whatnot, but I just want to go on adventures. And now it's like going, look, you've lost everything. You've finally been challenged. Where like we were saying in our review of Wrath the Khan, he's finally had to deal with going, yeah, you can't cheat at everything.
Yeah.
Like consequences happen, and he lost his best friend. And then in this one, like we say, he loses his son, he loses his ship, he loses his career, but he doesn't really, because he does good things.
It's his mind is still planning, and he's all in. So to assess how many, what is the crew complement of a bird of prey, a dozen, blah blah blah. So they go, right, well, they're going to have to send most of their men, 99% of their men over, because they believe we're a crew of 400.
They think we're 400 people.
Yeah, we're going to be heavily armed. So he uses that to bait them over, self-destruct the Enterprise. He takes out crews, 99% of his crew, with this one wild maneuver, and we get this. It's a sad but beautiful shot where Kirk has got nothing to lose, so he will use the last thing that he has to, as McCoy says, turn the possibility of death into a fighting chance to live.
The ship that has saved them so many times is going to save them one last time. Oh my God!
It's a beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. That's beautifully put, Mark. That's
fantastic.
Exactly it.
It's hauntingly beautiful to see this ship that has been, at this time in the 80s, 20 years it was on screen, to see it absolutely destroyed and turn into a fireball into the Genesis planet. And that's it right there, that when they're looking at it falling into the Genesis planet.
Yeah.
And McCoy sort of
It was at this moment Kirk realized he'd fucked up.
Oh, there goes my insurance premium. But
I always wondered why they didn't beam over to the Klingon ship instead of down to the planet.
Because they needed to search for Spock.
Yeah, but they could have done that from the Klingon ship.
True, but
because they go down to the planet, then they got to figure out how to get back up to the Klingon ship, because he knows the Enterprise is about to explode with the majority of the Klingon crew on board. So,
but he doesn't know that the Genesis planet is about to explode.
Yeah, I get off the fucking thing.
I will say, it's like, I think Mark said right, like, that would have been far better if he'd done that. But it's more the idea of, like, I just love the happens in the background thing that we have, which is basically like, they beam the crew up, and then the crew take over the Klingon ship, and then and you're just like, there's a story here, but we don't need to know it, because we just kind of go,
that could have been that actually could have been half the movie, is the two crews taking over each other's ships, and which one wins. It's the one with Kirk on it.
Well, I love the line though, where it's like, it's probably the most insulting thing he can do to a Klingon, but where basically, like, they Spock and Kirk beam up, and then the Klingon's like, I do not deserve to live, and he's like, I'll kill you another time then, and then lets him alone, and you're like, oh, you robbed him of an honorable death, you bastard.
But that
we got overpowered
on the bird of prey. On the bird of prey, there was only Krug and his second in command. So when we get to the bridge, it is literally the second in command on there holding the rest of the crew. I love that.
Marks.
Yeah. I love that when they're on the bridge of the Enterprise, it's like, sir, the ship appears to be abandoned. The computer is saying something. What does it say? And it's just like 5, 4, 3. And I love that, because one of them goes, why is it counting down? Why is it And it's just...
Well, none of them speak English.
That's what's wonderful. Like, this is the first film where we get to see Klingons, like, speaking Klingon. And then it kind of gets that across in the first couple of scenes, where they're just kind of like, hey, these guys do not speak English. And then it kind of does the whole like, oh, but for cinema, we're going to have them speak English later. But then the scene is very much going like, yeah, but that Klingon doesn't know that that's a countdown. And whereas the commander obviously does. And it's just like, that is a hilarious scene. It's such a good...
I just looked up who was the last surviving Klingon in Star Trek 3. And it says the last Klingon who survived Star Trek 3 was Maltz. The second in command. Maltz, yeah. It also notes that Maltz is the only Klingon in the movie with a line who never had a line in Klingon.
Oh, yes, because he goes, yes, my lord. And yeah. Because when he vaporizes his gunner and he says, "Say the wrong thing," and he goes, "If it's prisoners you seek, there are life forms on the planet." Yeah. That's yeah.
He looks like a foreign exchange student or something. You know, like the episode where they like swap captains with Riker, and Riker like they just like
he's
he lied
the
on his
Klingon
CV.
version of a he's a Klingon version of a benzite.
He's
I
from
just
the west side
sellotaped
of
some
Cronus.
crisps to my forehead, and I thought I was a Klingon.
I have some tips on how the bridge could be run more efficiently.
If it's prisoners you seek.
They're on the planet.
Yeah, it's a fucking Simpson nerds.
Why have I just got? Who have I just got? Marvin the Martian. Oh, this makes me very angry. If it's prisoners,
That's Christopher Lloyd in this movie, Goodwill.
Yeah,
No,
Doc
that's-
Brown.
Yeah. I give you 2 minutes for you and your gallant crew. But the
I love this now. I love that concept.
but the climax of the movie with the showdown between Commander Krug and Kirk.
Well,
And
when there's, I would say, my favorite moment in the movie is between those two beats. My favorite moment in the movie, and it actually keeps popping up there. No, it's not there on your little images here at the bottom of the screen. It's when they're standing there looking up at the sky, watching the Enterprise burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you did quote it, Goodwill. You said, "My God, Bones, what have we done?" And Bones says, "You do what you always did. You do what you had to. You turn death into a fighting chance to live."
It's a great line.
Yeah,
It is a great line and a good mantra. So if you want to turn death into a fighting chance to live, burn down your office. So, but
yeah.
That whole trick.
Practice makes perfect.
the Zippo is
Seek
fueled
out death and survive.
to
You do
boldly
realize-
go where
Have you
many
just
arseholes
turned
go.
into the guy at the end of Office Space?
Yes, I'm going to smash people with a keyboard. No, I
Yeah.
love my keyboard. It's expensive. But the climactic fight between Doc Brown and T.J. Hooker at the end of this film. Sorry, I'm having a mental breakdown live now. The whole planet is falling around them. It's descending into a pile of liquid hot magma, and
Magma.
and it's brilliant because Kirk's anger is fully realized in this, and it's not one of the best fights, but it has one of the best lines to end a fight when it's literally on a
It's
cliffhanger.
certainly a very Star Trek fight.
Yes.
Yeah, it could definitely be like a fully choreographed, like amazing fight and stuff. But we've got to think that the bar is literally set like a guy in a lizard costume with a paper mache rock. So it's technically this idea of the bar is not high to start with in terms of Star Trek combat.
I have had enough of you.
I quite like it. I quite like the
Yeah.
idea of this guy being an absolute twat gets a bit of a bitch death. But it's also the idea of it shows what an idiot the Commander Jeff is, where it's the idea of Doc Brown, Commander Jeff Doc Brown, which sounds like a kind of alcohol. But like how he, rather than trying to get up, he tries to pull Kirk down, and you're just going, "You idiot! You could have
But
lived."
even in his most angriest state, Kirk still says, "Give me your hand."
Yeah.
And that is a redeemable quality. This person ordered the death of someone in that party, and your son died as a consequence. And
He killed
even
everyone
that-
on the Grissom.
Yep.
He's responsible for Kirk's responsible for the destruction of the Enterprise, but
Yeah.
he killed his son.
Yeah.
He killed everyone on that cargo ship at the beginning.
Yeah.
3 ships,
Including my
explode
beloved
in the-
Valkyris.
Yeah.
3 ships explode in this movie. I hadn't considered that. It's
He
a lot
also
of-
destroyed Valkyris before, but just waiting for you two to get that one.
Oh
and
yeah,
there
I
we
got
go.
it. That took
Yeah.
a second.
I was just waiting.
Demonetized.
It's okay because Synoiz was processing.
Hashtag.
I can actually see Synoiz.
Demonetization.
No. Limited income.
Did I spell that right?
The problem is you spelled like demonetization. That's like where you make, royalties from The Exorcist, I think. That's
Oh, you're American, so you use a Z. So hopefully YouTube won't recognize that.
I think YouTube's American Goodwill.
But
we're probably more likely to confuse it by using British stuff if we just talk about crisps and stuff.
I will not have anything said bad about YouTube because our stream will freeze. But the little bit of where just before he's killed, where he beams up Kirk's landing party back to the Bird of Prey, and obviously Jeff, Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd, everything.
Jeff Brown, there we go. Jeff Brown
gives the
Dr.
order to beam
Jeff
up.
Brown
gives the order to beam up, and Kirk just impersonates that, and they beam him up without question. Your voice seems different. Yeah.
Shoot! Whoa, that guy's speaking English.
Yeah.
If only we were mildly intelligent.
It's Brad Pitt in Inglourious
If only our
Bastards.
parents weren't siblings.
It's Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards. Hello, Commander. Buongiorno. And it was, okay.
Buongiorno.
To be fair, I kind of like the idea that the Klingon guy. The Klingon guy was fully aware, and he was just sick of his job. He was like, "Yeah, go on, fuck it."
I love it.
He was the
Friday.
Yeah,
he was the crewman exchange program guy, so that's why.
I love it though.
He didn't have a dog in that race.
But when the line that Synoiz, is this the only one? Yes. And he's like, I have no order. You must kill me. And he's like, fine, I'll kill you later. But then when they leg it from the Genesis planet, and after Kirk said goodbye, David, and everything like that, he's like, wait, you promised you would kill me. I lied.
It turns into like Predator. Yeah. I'm right here. Do it. Kill me
now. What are you waiting for? Get to the Bird of
Prey. Last. I lied. See, this is why we need Arnie as Kirk.
I got that Simpsons reference where Rainier Wolfcastle's having the last bit of pie. He's like, "When I said I would eat you last, I lied," and he just starts eating it.
The goggles, they do nothing.
They do nothing.
Remember when Simpsons was good?
Yes.
Are you old enough?
So long ago.
But let's talk about. So obviously they get to Vulcan, they get to Mount Talea. Let's talk about the file transfer scene between two hard drives.
That,
she is the USB-C cable of Vulcan.
Oh, the 8-tracks that they use.
Oh my god!
I quite like it.
Yeah, they're like 8 tracks.
This whole scene is really bizarre because I will say, okay, because I hadn't seen this movie, I was very much like, how the fuck does Spock come back to life? And I was expecting it to be utter voodoo bullshit.
Well, number one, he was never dead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing. But what the main thing is how wonderfully it does it. It actually does all make sense if you kind of make the logical leaps of going, why did they fire the body into a planet, or rather than just general space? But
why didn't they just bring it home for a proper heroic burial?
Yeah, that's it. Or take it back to Vulcan. They're like, no, we've got to fire people into space. That's what we do.
It's trauma at the time, and then obviously they just fired it, expected it to go into space, but there was gravitational fluxes with the Genesis planet.
It was very dramatic.
This body is
at
really
the end
triggering.
Of 2.
We got Scotty on bagpipes, despite the fact no one asked him to bring the bagpipes, and
they were happy he was just involved. They were just like, okay, well, at least you'll shut up about using all his alcohol on Khan. He brought
a kilt on a training cruise. Let's just not question Scotty. But the USB-C file transfer scene in this, where they are just rebooting Spock with a new operating system. He's gone from
you want
Vista.
To install updates? No, I don't want to risk it. Sorry.
He's gone from Vista to Windows 7.
Is he that stable?
I'm a Mac guy, so I don't get that reference.
Oh,
I'm trying to work out what the Mac equivalent would be, but I don't know, because there's no pattern in Mac names, are there? It's how Xbox always tries to be like, okay, let's just make it nothing like the previous one, where they go, okay, Xbox One, so the next one is gonna be something else, 360.
No.
And you're like, what?
Someone at Microsoft was just doing a mad rail when they were just like 360.
There is a
the next one
dartboard with words on it at the Microsoft office, basically.
Will the next one be 720? No, Xbox Series X plus XY. What?
It'll be called the Xbox Treasure. Why? Because no one expects the next name of Xbox. But no,
I'm an Xbox guy, so stop shitting on Xbox.
We're not. We own Xboxes.
The idea of like, but like I think the lunacy thing here is, imagine turning up, okay, at like a temple, and they're like, okay, you know the thing that you're asking us to do? That was kind of a legend. That's like going, okay, I've brought my dead friend to this church. You know how in the Bible Jesus resurrects Lazarus? Could you just do that? And the woman's just like, that's a parable. That's a story. Like she literally goes like, what you're asking me to do is kind of legend. Which is like, we haven't actually needed to ever transfer someone's consciousness into a dead body before.
But even the dialogue in this scene, it's Old English. Savak, thou art this, thee, thouest thee, and you just like, you are Vulcan. Why are you talking like a Shakespearean actor?
I think though it's that it's suspension of disbelief with Trek, where we have to assume that a lot of the time they are speaking in their native language, and that they just went, it's a film, let's not put subtitles everywhere. I feel with this that they're basically going, they're hinting towards she is speaking very, very old Vulcan dialect. But it does feel a bit weird if they were like, why are you speaking old-timey English when you're Vulcan on a mountain?
I like it though, because it's a nice way
It's an equivalency.
Yeah. It's a nice way to end the movie as well, because the file transfer is complete and Spock is slowly reinstalling all of his apps towards the end of the movie, and we see him. And I love the fact that the first words that Spock say, and more or less just the last words of the Wrath of Khan, where he's essentially his system rebooting, but he's at his last previous save point. So he still thinks it's 3 days ago in engineering.
Vulcan checkpoints.
Vulcan checkpoints. Yes, that's when you do a system restore, always create a save point. So
if it was,
well
why didn't he take some bloody rad hypos or something? If it was.
He's Bethesda, so Bethesda don't do autosaves. So Vulcan is Bethesda. So they're in New Vegas, they've done the file transfer. But then he quotes the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the but the ship out of danger. And I love the fact that Kirk turns the Vulcan adage on its head, where he goes, the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. And the conversation that he has with
his
father,
which is basically libertarianism, if we're honest.
But the way that he...
I like the idea of Spock's just like, oh, hang on, I'm just opening TikTok.
But the way that his father speaks to Kirk, where he goes, at what cost to bring back my son, your son, your ship, and he's like, the cost would have been my soul. That Kirk's love of Spock, of his friend, runs so deep that he will sacrifice everything to bring him back. Is another human aspect that we see of him. And like I said, Spock is at his previous save point, and then the last words are just, Jim, your name is Jim. And that's how it ends. And then you get that lovely, beautiful sunrise, and then just the adventure continues. And it's just like, yes, we have system restored Spock. He is back. And it's going to continue. But how are they going to... What's going to be the repercussions of this? And we will find out in Star Trek IV, that one with the whales. But all in all, it is a very, very underrated movie.
I will say I really enjoyed this. It wasn't the best movie. Like, I wouldn't say it was like, a phenomenal movie, but it was a very enjoyable movie. It was a very well done movie in terms of the script and stuff, in terms of the
Nimoy's
flow.
direction is brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's genuinely. I was really pleased, but it's obviously, like I say, I'm still reeling from the first one because I hated it so much that I am kind of like going a lot of credence.
Hey,
like to the
Star Trek: The Motion Picture is fantastic.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture is a film. I will give it that. That's about it. No, I love the bit where she walked through the door. The bit where she walked through the door made the film for me. That's my favorite thing in the whole world. Where she's like, "I'm bored of this room now." Smash.
Oh, it smashes through the door. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that
the
is my
wall or
favorite bit
whatever.
of the whole movie. And I
We
was
get
like,
3 hours
what
of the
is it worth
Enterprise
3
refit.
hours of my life?
We get 3 hours of the Enterprise refit going around the dry dock. I'm that for me, that is Starship porn, and I am happy with that. I was not satisfied with how long that lasted. It should have gone all day. I wanted to see every single fucking hull plate. Okay, I like my shit.
I mean, that's reasonable.
yeah. The search for hull. Ooh, plug maybe.
The search for Hull. That doesn't
the-
usually happen because usually people are leaving Hull.
Oh, another plug. Unintentional by science officers.
Oh,
Yeah,
course.
unintentional plugs.
Oh,
Goodwill
no,
and
let's not do unintentional plugs, and that's why I
Unintentional
walk funny.
Oh my god.
Mark's just given up.
Fuck me,
He's
the
just
hat's
like,
off.
I'm done.
The hat's
I'm
off.
done.
It's off.
Yes. We have won. Release the geese.
I'm just going to do the dabble wheel now. So...
The pride I have. The pride I have knowing that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Very funny.
Aren't you glad you joined? Aren't you?
This is where he goes, I'm going to shoot off now. And
But yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna do the dabber wheel, aren't we?
are we going to do the double wheel? Are we going to do the double wheel? Or I think the
Okay.
double wheel is
Yeah.
broken
Do we
like
have
very
any
much
final
everything.
thoughts about this episode before we move on to the end of it?
About this movie?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this movie. Sorry.
Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock's Body, is one of the best episodes of Star Trek ever.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It feels like an episode. It feels like a very long episode. You know, and that's why it works. I think.
Which
for
is
me.
interesting because actually there's so much loss and so much like the end of an era. And you know, I wonder if our if what happens in this movie is diminished, if the emotional impact doesn't hit us quite as much because we know the one with the whales is coming next, and then the the one with the holes on the desert planet is after that, and then the greatest movie of all time is after that, and then we got Generations and First Contact. And
But it's one of those things. It's like with anything which has like a deep emotional impact. That if you have it secondhand, or you hear I have it, you weren't there at the time. Like for instance, like with video games, like it's weird. Like with Final Fantasy VII, like with the character of Aerith dying, and like that was such a massive thing in my childhood of going, whoa, they actually did that. But then nowadays people are going, oh yeah, that game where the woman dies, and you're like, okay, that probably isn't going to have the same impact then if you kind of know it's going to happen. And then in this one, we knew David was going to die because it's Star Trek lore. We know that Spock comes back. We know that this happens. We know that Kirstie Alley turns into an absolute bitch later on and doesn't reprise her role as Savick in this one. All these bits of Trek lore that just skirting over that one. Apparently she wanted too much money for this film, and you're just like going, well, God loves a trier.
She went into Cheers. It's fine. This is a great
I'm
example.
not a fan of Kirstie Alley. I'm not.
This is a great example though of if you had the chance to completely forget something and rewatch it for the first time, would you? And I would say absolutely with this, because to go through the emotional rollercoaster you do with Star Trek 2-3, it would be heart wrenching.
Yeah.
To see this well-established character that you've seen for 20 years just die, and then be redeemed and have faith again when they go and bring him back. and be like, oh yes, they're back. What's going to happen next? And you don't know that it's going to be the one with the whales. You don't know that he's Spock's.
But no one had it on a bingo card that it involved whales.
How can you not see that coming, though? How can you not see that coming?
Be one of these things where what if they're just secretly in the background? You know how in like Lower Decks and stuff, where they put all of these references to whales and stuff in because they're like, look,
I am going to say this. I am going to say this when we do Star Trek Generations. What the fuck happened to the cetacean crew of the Enterprise D when that thing fucking buried into Viridian 3? Yep.
Nothing
we'll
good.
Get to it. Nothing good.
Exactly. You got a lot of dead fish.
Why do you think they don't talk about it?
Wow.
Just sweeping it under the rug.
Is that why the Akudas were just like, and we will have 3 decks just dedicated to whales in the technical manual, just like, look at all these that died. And then Picard in his log is just like, there were no casualties, it was light. It was only a few fish.
It would be funny if after the one with the whales, every single episode or movie has to have a whale on board the ship.
But like not like a hybridized
if they run into one of those probes again.
They are excellent.
I just love the idea that it's just they have to put a whale on, but there's no other rules.
A
they
safety
don't actually
whale.
Put them in water or anything. So they've just got this giant dead whale on one of the decks, and they're like,
"It's so Red Dwarf.
This was a mistake."
It's so Red Dwarf, where it's just like, you've got this huge mining ship, but there's a karaoke bar on deck 6. And it's just like, oh, we've got the flagship of the Federation, and it's got 6 whales. And you're like, oh. But, yeah, so are we done with the search for Spock, gentlemen? Do we need to go to an incoming transmission?
What do I need to mention? No, I think I loved all of it. The only thing that annoyed, like, what were the weapons different? Because you know how, like, we saw a disruptor, and we got a wonderful, like, animation of the Klingon dying on the ship where Christopher Lloyd kills him, Dr. Jeff Brown. And then, what is it? We have... Yeah, what happens? You know when they go down to the planet and Kirk uses the phaser on a Klingon and he like shoots...
He shoots that Klingon and the Klingon flies across the entire surface of the planet and into the side of the mountain.
It was a new phaser, which...
It was a shotgun phaser.
Yeah, that's it. It's just shotgun phaser.
He took his phaser and put it into shotgun setting.
I've actually got that phaser somewhere, but it was brand new for Star Trek 3. Because they had one for Star Trek. Yeah,
that's a really good impression, Mark.
Thanks.
But yeah, it was a brand new phaser for Star Trek 3, and it was never ever seen again. But yeah, so
I quite like it.
It was new weapons, but yeah, I just think this is very underrated when it comes to Star Trek films. Everyone references 2, 4, and 6, and I just think Star Trek 3...
2, 6, 5, 3, 4, 1.
So Mark's...
Am I meant to be putting these in to disarm the bomb, Mark? Is that what you're telling me?
Those are the best Shatner
random numbers. Will these get the electro collar off my neck? Is that what this goes?
Oh no. No, it will not.
The sweet release of death.
We know you like it. Anyway,
Well, I need to ask my friend what the Klingon word for daddy is.
Absent. So we have got an incoming transmission.
Incoming transmission.
You dreamt you were in bed with someone? Not exactly. I was in bed. But there wasn't another person in my dream.
Incoming transmission.
I did that deliberately. So we... where is Mark? Mark is here somewhere. Where is he? Charger. Where is Synoiz? Why is Synoiz?
Where am I? I'm hidden like a little fox.
God damn these system issues adequate, you piece of piss. Right. This is the double... Talk amongst yourselves. This is the double wheel of episodes. Within the double wheel, we have every episode of Star Trek programmed in existence. Wow, he is ginormous. Look at the size of this. Look at him.
I am God.
God isn't real, and what does God need with a double wheel? We have
What
got...
does God need?
Yeah,
Oh.
what does God need with a Oh, Max.
Hey,
Max,
happy
Just
Easter,
God
everybody.
Was one of us. Yeah, speaking of which, happy Easter, happy chocolate egg weekend.
Yeah,
Have you?
it's
have you
Good
got
Friday,
it?
which means today is the day that Jesus descended into hell, I believe.
Oh, good for
Oh.
him.
Yeah.
You know,
Is
I love that for you.
Just like me, he has descended into hell.
And
We have
other
that in
terms for
common.
LA.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, and myself are
Don't-
very similar.
Don't cry for me, mother. I'm.
I don't want
already
to say
hell.
martyr complex, but I love the idea. It's just like so me and Jesus were like kind of the same, you know, like I love the idea if you were just like that. You're just
I'm
like,
not
okay.
saying. I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but
But yeah, I'm not saying Jesus, but you know,
if hell had a road sign, it would say "Welcome to Redcar." So this is the double wheel of episodes for those just joining Trekking Up North. Why are you joining at episode 53? We have every episode of Star Trek programmed into this very fetching wheel, and what we do at the end of every Trekking Up North, we spin the wheel. We spin it and we spin it and we spin it. And when the wheel stops, we yell at the top of our lungs, Dabo! And then everyone in the chat has to type Dabo. And if I do not hear you from my house shouting Dabo, you are not trying hard enough. And whatever the wheel lands on, me and Science Officer Synoiz and any unsuspecting victim who we drag on to Trekking Up North. Yes, I am looking at you, Nina. When we get a Deep Space Nine episode, Nina, I am going to call it Deep Space Nina.
Come on,
Nina. When we get an episode, we must review it. And I am going to say this, as I say every single week, and I know this bastard is going to say the same thing back at me.
Why do you think I'm that predictable? Do you really think I'm that predictable, Goodwill?
Science Officer
I do.
Synoiz.
Shut up, Mark. You're right, but shut up.
You delicious Geesian with an Austrian's moustache. What?
Hey, it was really big in the 1940s. Well, he wasn't. He was only about 5 foot, but still.
What would you like to see next week?
Guess what? Code of
Just
honor.
say it. Thank
Code
you.
of honor. Code of honor. Or what is it?
If you say Sub Rosa,
Sub
I'm
Rosa
gonna-
again.
I'm gonna
Again,
beat you.
Goodwill.
I'm gonna.
I haven't
beat
taken it
you.
out of the wheel. We might get it again.
I am seeing you this Monday, and I will beat you with Captain Styles' whipping stick from the Excelsior. I will find it, and I will beat you with it.
His
Obviously,
whipping stick.
we do have fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Chris. Sorry, Chris. We're not Chrising
Sorry,
you.
Chris.
Fingers Chris. Chris has risen.
no.
It is Easter.
Chris
Anyway.
has risen. Oh wow! Begin the memes.
Have
Chris
you
has
not? Have
risen.
you not seen that in the news? Some church had ordered a banner for Christ has risen, and
Yeah.
it got delivered as Chris has risen.
No, good for him. Good for him. I don't know
Good
why
for
we're getting
Chris.
angry about this.
It's nice to see him out of bed.
Glad he's
Anyway,
back, Chris.
but in all seriousness, apart from Code of Honor, what would you like?
Code
to
of
see?
Honor. I would. The problem is, I'm always gonna want DS9 episodes. I absolutely
Yes.
love DS9 so deeply. No, I think that's it. I think that's. I'd love to get a DS9 episode for this one. Anything whatsoever, preferably an O'Brien focused one. We still haven't had a Keiko episode after a year of doing this, which is quite crazy.
Because the double
considering
wheel
she-
knows that she's a bastard. So
Well, it knows that it doesn't want to summon evil, but I think we agreed that this is the last one before we put original series and animated series back in, isn't it?
yes, it is. This is the last one. I am hoping for Star Trek Enterprise because it is one of my favorite series of all time. Mr. Commander, Lord and Savior, Mullet Man, Man of the Midwest, Cartier.
Mullet Man Cartier. Is
Are
that
you talking to
is
me?
that your DJ name, Mark?
Mullet Man.
Mullet Man.
Mullet
Yeah.
Man Cartier.
I'm very famous in the greater Los Angeles County area for my Mullet Man persona.
This is why I'm going
I
to create
rock
law
the
now.
DJ
That's it
thing,
exactly.
the thing.
He's
I'm
gone
gonna-
feral.
What I'm going to do in LA, I'm going to film Mark, right, in super slow-mo, taking off the hat and just doing this. And I am going to Vaseline the fuck out of the lens, and I'm going to put Twilight sparkles and some
Yeah.
sort of 70s porn music. And I'm just
Make
going to go, I'm just going to say, ladies, and that is it. That is all I'm going to say.
Make it like a what is it? A shampoo commercial. Make it like the sort of the most glamorous thing.
Pantene Cartier.
I can't do it because like bald, but
You've got a wig. It's fine. The
okay,
I've got
Mark,
frosted
what
tips.
episode would you like us to do next? What?
I put it in the chat.
Oh,
Have you? Oh god, he's making us look.
it just says finger Chris. Hold on.
I hope
Shut
it's
up,
the one
video
where the
Mark.
guy from Spinal Tap is dressed like an evil clown. Don't you fucking mention clowns, you son of a bitch.
Oh, actually,
I just want to see the two of
is
you
that from
suffer.
Voyager?
Yes, it's Voyager. I hate clowns.
Yes.
I hate
it's a-
clowns so much.
That was referenced in Lower Decks, wasn't it? Because
It
that was
was,
one
yeah.
of the things that came back, wasn't it? Yeah, actually, yeah, I would love that. I genuinely love that
Yeah.
if we got that one because
Hashtag
the clown is
mullet
so
man.
evil.
Oh, why did you mention clowns?
Or
Oh my God.
did you guys get Move Along Home or whatever that episode
No,
is? The
not
DS9
yet.
episode with the
Yet.
game? Yeah, that one.
Not
That's the one
yet.
I want you guys to get.
We've done Candle Slag, and Captain's Quadrant, Captain Jaw, is reviewing Sub Rosa tonight, everybody. So if you want to stay up late in the UK and catch them torturing
Oh,
themselves
yeah.
at Sub Rosa, please do. However, I have got the actual Candle Slag here. He's just not wearing his wig. So
I put it in the other room. I've still got the candle though. I've still got the thing.
you're wearing that in Las Vegas. You do know that. That is another one of your personas that you're going to wear. I've got many costume changes for you. Where I'm
Make
just
me
gonna
dress
walk around
up
the
for me for you, Daddy Goodwill.
I'm sorry.
Lovely.
Is this a Daba wheel that actually spins?
Yeah, wait, let's do it.
Oh,
Let's do it.
spins. Are we
Is this-
ready? Okay.
Okay,
In
everyone in the
three-
chat, you have to yell Dabo.
You have to yell
I'll go
Dabo when it
first.
lands. Oh, I hate the anxiety this generates. In 3, 2, 1. Dabo! It's Deep Space Nine Blood Oath. It's Deep Space Nina. That's right. We're gonna get Nina on next week. I think we need to get
Blood
Nina on.
Oath. What? Which one is that? Is that the one
I'm
where?
going to get the synopsis for you right now.
that the
It's
one
obviously
where-
Klingon. It is obviously Klingon, and it is exactly what I think it is. Jadzia opts to risk her future with Starfleet in order to fulfill a blood oath made by Curzon with 3
Yeah.
Klingon.
Oh yeah, where we get
They go
all
to
of the
they go to
returnees.
find the albino. You're gonna love this one.
Oh, it's a fantastic episode. I love this. God damn it, Dabble Wheel. Thank you so much. Oh, blood oath next
Oh.
week. Nina,
There we
clear
go.
your
I'm
schedule.
happy.
Clear your schedule,
The
Nina.
albino.
This is
I mean, it's
this
like-
is but this is no, this is a brilliant episode because this is also mid-90s tolerance for gender swapping because as we see
Oh,
yeah
Jadzia used to be Curzon.
yeah Curzon, it's Jadzia now.
Oh yeah, we do get that,
Curzon!
don't we? Where we're like going, yeah.
Yes, it is a brilliant episode. So Nina, clear your schedule. Release me from the basement this time next Friday. We are going to be reviewing Star Trek Deep Space Nine Blood Oath. So all you brand new Trekkers that we have, for some strange, deranged reason, invited and made Star Trek fans because of this, whatever we do, make sure you watch Deep Space Nine Blood Oath and join in. And we will begin with the Star Trek polls again next week because I think we're going to get a good poll for this one. Because we didn't do with Search for Spock, we didn't because
It's not going to be better than Lee's poll.
okay. So
God. Why?
I just love
If-
that we have a special guest, and I'm just like, no,
right,
let's not,
no,
let's not change my
it's time.
attitude.
It is time to plug, and not that type of plug. Commander Cartier, the shuttle pod channel is very busy in the background, as we top secret guys know. New
Yes.
content is coming soon. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Is there anything you would like to announce now, or just keep stum?
We are going to be announcing a new schedule in the next couple of days since it's the top of April. And we're going to start those announcements with our membership. So we've been shooting some shows. Yeah, we've been doing some fun stuff behind the scenes, trying to make this year an exciting year.
That is a Trekking Up North exclusive, you sons of bees, and so keep your Keep your ears tuned to the Shuttlepod Show Patreon. If you're not a member of the Shuttlepod Show, become a member because the content is amazing. If you like Trekking Up North, if this is your first time watching Trekking Up North, what is wrong with you? Please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Caress the bell. We do like the bell to be caressed. In terms of plugging, Science Officer Synoiz, the hardest working person in the northeast of England.
I get a rest. I'm a bit terrified though, because the problem is Mark, you'll have this where basically you just go, oh, I'm really busy at the moment, but I'm free here. And I've said that to so many people that I'm like, I have a feeling that I have to do loads of stuff now. Where the amount of podcasts where I've said, oh, I'll guest on that sometime in April. So now I've got to kind of get back to them and be like, well, April's going to fill up pretty quickly. But yeah, so I'll probably be guesting a couple of times this month or next month on various podcasts and stuff like that. We'll hear about it here. The main thing I have to plug is obviously I finished Snatch Talk. We've had the wonderful 6-7 weeks of Newcastle Drag Idol. It has been amazing. I was the guest judge the other week and it went really, really well. We just had the grand final. So you can watch that by going to thevelvetsnatch.com and following the links there. The main thing I need to mention is now I can actually talk about it, which is mixed drag, which is basically a countrywide competition called Mixed Drag Great Britain, where I'm one of the finalists, and as part of that, I need to. It's a crazy achievement, and I'm very happy with myself. But basically, it's such a wonderful competition because basically only a small amount of it is based upon like looks and stuff. So it means that like you're actually. A lot of your vote goes on how much money you can raise for charity, and then how much knowledge do you have about LGBT history and like the community, which I think is the way pageants should be, rather than being like, oh, the prettiest person wins.
I wish for world peace.
Yeah, that's it. I wish for the world in pieces. Oh, I misspoke. But fuck the Tories. But yeah, so basically I'm going to be doing loads of charity events over the course of the year. The thevelvetsnatch.com/donate is set up if you want to have a look at the charities. But I'm going to be announcing events and stuff over the next couple of months to raise money for charity and whatnot. And we're going to get some fun stuff. So me and Goodwill have been talking about how do we bring trekking into this and how do we bring sort of my fundraising into trekking. So there's going to be some cool trekking events happening in the next couple of months to help raise money for my charities. And yeah, join us for the ride, basically. Yeah.
Everybody watching this live, everybody watching this back, tweet Destination Trek that you want trekking up north.
Oh yeah.
At Destination Trek. It closes April the 4th. Tell them you want moi and va. It's Blackpool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if we don't want you?
Then what you do is you submit our names and then you put like hashtag our shit afterwards. But
no,
then
I'm just kidding.
Hopefully they still count it.
He's kidding. He's kidding because in 11 hours, 57 minutes and 15 seconds, I'm going to be on his doorstep. So, yeah.
One other thing I need to mention is that I will be doing another fundraiser, which is totally separate to the mixed drag competition. But in about 2 weeks' time, I think it is, myself and my best friend Ian are going to be doing another 24-hour gaming stream on my Twitch channel for and it's gonna be silly. It's gonna be very fun, but it's a 24-hour gaming stream to raise money for St. Benedict's Hospice, which is basically a cancer hospice that looked after our dear friend Beth before she passed. So it's going to be an annual thing where basically we're going to raise money for that. So we're going to get that out the way, and then we're going to be fundraising for mixed drag. But yeah, so join us for that. More information will be coming. I'll be able to tell you more on our next episode next Friday.
Fuck cancer. Tweet Destination Trek to get us in Blackpool. I am in LA. I'm going to Vasquez Rocks. So any Shuttlepod fans...
from Aliens?
Any Shuttlepod... I'm not even going to dignify that. Any Shuttlepod fans that you are watching and you are in the greater Los Angeles area, come and say hello to me and come and fight me at Vasquez Rocks. I'm waiting for you, Brienne. Other than that, Star Trek Las Vegas, we're going to be there. Science Officer Synoiz is going to be there. In other characters, maybe. But other than that, Nerdy Up North, Every single thing that we do is down there. Every friend of the show, Shuttlepod Show, Captain's Quadrant, Unplanned Trek is down there below. Isaac, I see you. My mother says hello.
Did he leave his underwear or something?
Isaac doesn't wear underwear. Anyway,
I've never had to pee so bad in my life, guys.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're nearly done.
If you don't piss yourself on stream, yeah, exactly. If you don't piss yourself on stream,
Yeah,
are you really a podcaster?
You're not a real.
You're not a real
until you
one.
Pissed yourself on stream.
They all say they want to pee.
Why do you think you call it streaming?
You fucks. Right. Until next week, I've got to pee. He's got to pee. Synoiz doesn't pee because he's a goose.
It's just dust.
It's live long and prosper. Take care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe. Bye bye. And as ever, Miles.
Miles?
My